it too.
Where is that? There it is. Welcome back to the Thinking Critical Comic Book Podcast. It's time for the Comics Aficionados, the best damn comic book podcast in all the interwebs and YouTube. Gonna have a fun discussion today. We've got some cancel culture. We've got bad comics. We got good comics. We got Hollywood movie stars suing Disney over superhero movies. So we've got the gamut of fun things to talk about. We do have dogs joining us as well, and we got a couple of new panel members. First time on the channel. First up, we've got Tristen from Nerdette's Newsstand. You were supposed to be on the channel, I think, one other time, but it didn't work out. I'm glad you could make it this time.
I know, finally. It feels like that was a long time ago, but yeah, finally. And then I'm going to steal you for my own channel.
Yes, we're going to record some content after this, so that should be lots of fun. Anything exciting going over on at Nerdette's Newsstand right now people should know about?
No, basically all of the same. I kind of just bitch. Honestly though, I've been doing a lot more interviews. I've been doing a lot more Ask the Experts. Next week I'm gonna have Dan Jurgens on. So I'm super excited about that. Honestly, that's like humbling and honoring and everything like I can possibly think of. So I'm super excited. So yeah, make sure you guys check out my channel. That should be so fun.
He's such a nice guy. I've talked to him on several occasions. He is a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There is a link to Tristan's YouTube channel in the video description. Definitely show up for the Dan Jurgens interview. That's going to be exciting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, Well, next up, we've got Carrie, Nerdygirlcreates, soon to be a YouTuber. First time on the channel. How you doing, Carrie?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing excellent. I've seen you on the Twitter sphere, talk a little junk, having some fun, talking about comics as well.
Yes.
When can we expect the YouTube channel? You're still working on it?
I'm still working on it. Hopefully soon. I will let you know when it's available.
Absolutely. Definitely check out her Twitter feed. Keep in the know because you're definitely going to want to check that out. Next up, we've got you. Are you the first host of the Perch channel without Perch, Joe?
I am.
Oh, wow.
So you had Sean Gordon Murphy and Jeff Thorne last night?
Yeah, no, it was a fun time.
Nice. And you actually woke up in time to make it to the show.
I did. Even though Jeff and I ended up talking for like a while after, and then it was, and like I had mentioned before we went live, I did finish that Four Loko, but I'm here.
Is it true that you are not entirely sober right now?
I feel sober, but that doesn't mean I would pass a sobriety test.
No, I mean nothing. That just means you reached equilibrium.
I felt sober a lot when I was in my teens and 20s, and I definitely wasn't.
All right, Joe. So when can people expect Betstar 3 to come into their comic shops?
Well, Betstar 3 should be out now, and Betstar 4 should be out by the end of August. So it's coming. It's all done. So
what's the word? Are we getting more Betstar after this first volume?
We might. We're talking about that. I'm working on 2 other series at the moment too. So, yep.
Very exciting stuff. Also with us is the curmudgeon of critical himself, Pele. I guess you weren't feeling well. I'm glad that you are feeling up to snuff to be here on the channel. I hope you're feeling better.
I'm conscious, which is an arguable point, but heavily medicated and ready to go. We're ready to talk comics and ready to talk about Hollywood bitches. That's what I was told. So,
all right, we've got a super chat from Lane Kramer. Joe, great job managing the Perch show last night. Make sure Jeff's cosplays Teen Lantern gender bent. Can you go as Guardian and recreate Green Lantern #1 cover?
I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, I don't think we'll get any flack for that, so we should do that.
That'll totally work, and nobody will ever complain.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you very much to Lane Kramer for supporting the channel. And last but not least, we do have the co-host of the Comics Aficionados, the man who's been with us since day one, is also recovering from his own issue. I guess your eyebrow's working now.
Yes, my face is working. I mean, mostly. I still can't taste shit, but my mouth's still numb all the time. But hey, what the hell? Close enough. I don't need that.
You got a victory this week. You can.
Yeah, I know, right? I
Take
can
it as it
blink.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to wear a fucking eye patch anymore, so I'm not a pirate. That's kind
Oh.
of
I would still wear it. But that's
Yar.
Oh no! I'm still wearing it. I'm just saying I don't have to.
They don't have to.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a difference here. Come on. Once you
Arr.
get assigned an eye patch by a doctor, you never give that shit up.
No.
It's medical marijuana. You keep that prescription.
Give me your booty. Yar.
All right, let's get right into the subjects today. Obviously, the big one that came out was Frank Miller was supposed to be attending Thought Bubble in the UK, and then Zainab Akhtar, who was the creator behind Shoebox, which is like a crowdfunding publisher,
I think it's
had some issues with it. Came out
Short
on
box.
social media and got canceled for that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe Corallo? Are you surprised that Frank got uninvited?
It's surprising the reason being a book that came out 10 years ago. And if you ask most of the people who published that book, they probably wouldn't be able to answer you. It's a Legendary Comics, which, again, this book didn't come out of nowhere. It's not like Frank strong-armed the publisher to put it out. They willingly, they got it. They read through it, presumably, and were like, this is good enough for us to publish, and they put it out. But it's all been laser focused on Frank, and the issue of safety, I think, really got to me, because I would, and I will give the benefit of the doubt. If this book had just come out, if this was part of a book tour he was promoting, and there was it was all unknown. Like, we were not sure how people were going to react. We were not sure what kind of people would come to promote that kind of book, or would come to get that book that's being promoted. I would understand there being more of an ambiguous, I'm not sure what kind of environment this is going to be. The book's been out for 10 years. Almost, I guarantee you, even if he was at that show, I would be blown away if more than a handful of people got that book signed or brought it, or even knew he put it out. Yeah.
If anybody even mentioned it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are there for, the early DC work, Sin City, maybe 300, and a few other things. Obviously, yeah, Daredevil. But yeah, that's what people would have been there for. And ultimately, Frank doesn't need the money. It wasn't for Frank. I wouldn't be shocked if Frank was kind of like, I get to keep my cancellation fee, and I don't have to, go all the way out to the UK for great. Like, you're depriving people of getting the chance to meet him, because there's a chance that could have been the last time some of those people could have met him out in the UK. Yeah. And just going back to the safety issue real quick, I dealt with this once years ago. I was going back and forth with someone on Facebook. This was, during some heated stuff in 2016, just even in the primaries. It was, I was going back and forth with Bernie supporter, and not to get too political, this is just the point of where this happened. And I had a good acquaintance of mine, going in and liking everything this other guy was saying, trashing me. So I DM'd him just to be like, hey, what's going on? I don't do we have a problem? Because I don't get why you're doing this. And he immediately rapid fired answered oh my God, what are you doing in my DMs? I don't feel safe.
What? It's the internet, bitch. Yeah.
And I was just so that kind of stuff, I always go back and think of that, excuse, you feel unsafe because I asked you why you're going, you're liking all these things, comments that are trashing me, that kind of, it made me think of that, because it's what are you,
the safety argument definitely feels marginalized at this point.
Yeah, but I'm going on too long. There are more people, so please.
Well, we do have a super chat from King KDI, £5. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Are we really supposed to look at Al Qaeda as a marginalized group in this day and age? wrong. What is wrong with people? That's a fair point.
Everything.
Obviously, they're coming at it from a
Everything is
different
wrong with
perspective.
people. That's the problem. Everything is wrong with everyone these days.
Well, everybody seems to be offended.
Yes, because
Yes.
everything is wrong with everyone.
Yeah. So
People
thank
should
you
be
very
more
much for
mad. But people should be more mad at how bad that book was. I'm not kidding. The first time I seen that book, the dimensions are terrible, for one. Who makes a comic book with those dimensions? Two, it looked like mummies. It looked like he was battling mummies. And then you go and you flip open the book and it has fake Muhammad quotes. I think had this book differentiated between Muslim people and Al Qaeda and terrorists, there wouldn't be an issue. But there was no differentiation. There was like, every Muslim is a terrorist. It was a bad book.
Yeah.
So was All-Star Batman, but he's not getting canceled for that. Like, I get it. He was emotional after 9/11. I can understand that, and I can understand why she would kind of maybe be uncomfortable. But
Sure.
to go from uncomfortable to feeling unsafe is a completely different thing.
No,
Absolutely.
they just want
Eric
to. They like
Canetti,
to flex
comic book
their.
artist actually chimes in on this. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Feeling unsafe in the case that Joe just mentioned, and in Frank Miller's case, is such an unbelievable term appropriated by soft people. I'm sorry for interrupting there, Pele.
No, it's just soft people. That's the whole point. They have to flex on people online because they don't have the courage of their convictions to do it in person. They're very, very weak, soft people who the only kicks they get in life are kicking other people because they have nothing going on. They have nothing in their own life. So.
And they figured out how to weaponize their race.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah. They've definitely weaponized certainly some terms. Feeling unsafe does seem a bit odd, Carrie.
Yes.
You've seen Frank Miller. He looks to be in extremely poor health. He's like the past 3-4 years. He looks much older than his age. I believe he's 64. He looks much older than that at this point.
And didn't he also have like a history of addiction and during that
believe
time
he
when he
is.
wrote that book? And I don't see how she could feel unsafe with them. And then from what I understand, they get rid of him from the convention and she's still not going to attend it now that he's not even going to be there.
She's not going?
She's not going.
I did not know that. Oh, you
No, she's
idiot.
not going.
This
They went
makes it
through
even
all that.
better.
She did
said
this
the
before,
reaction.
if you remember.
Yeah.
She said the reaction to Frank Miller not going is why she's not going.
She doesn't
She's
want to
scared
feel
of the
like an
fans.
asshole.
And I heard that they're saying that she's accusing people of being in her threads, attacking her and saying racist stuff, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Of course they are. Yeah.
Look,
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I just need to point this out. First of all, Frank, Wes made a good point there. If you look at Frank, this is a man that a strong breeze could probably put in the hospital at this point. I mean, if we're being completely honest, this is a man that has aged about 40 years in 10 years. Now, he's looking a little better actually today than he was 3 or 4 years ago. That man looked like he was about like he was literally hobbling away from the Grim Reaper at the time.
Yeah.
So he has improved. I don't know. I mean, there's never been any discussion. I know it's never come up, and it's not my place to speculate. But I'm betting that there's a lot of health issues. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And so the idea that Frank personally is dangerous is laughable on its face. This is it. That is a comment that shouldn't even we've gotten to the point with listening to people that we listen to stuff that is abjectly false and give it credence, like to actually discuss it instead of just laughing idiots out of the room.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but Zainab Akhtar, I have no idea who the hell you are.
It's Akhtar.
Akhtar, sorry. Again, I literally don't know who this person is. And I'm betting that 99% of the rest of the people that would be attending this event have the exact same response. You are literally who? You're nobody.
Yeah.
And this is a way of trying to make themselves into somebody that is somebody at the expense of somebody that's already somebody.
And 99% of the people that were going to see Miller.
Exactly.
I'll guarantee it.
So are they giving refunds?
Damn well better.
I've heard a couple people say that they weren't going to fly over there. I don't know if all those accounts are true. Joe, do you think that there's the point that maybe Akhtar and Shortbox are using this as like promotional material to get the word out that they have this crowdfunding comics out there and that they're available right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make that assumption because that is something that's deeply cynical. But you know,
I am deeply cynical.
That's fair. But they do have a campaign up now and all that, and you know, it's hard not to go there. But that said, and this goes without saying anyway, but like, don't reach out, don't go and back $1 so you can comment. Like, don't do that kind of stuff. Like, don't make this a self-fulfilling prophecy. Don't go out there and reach out or engage in any way. Just let it happen, because all that kind of stuff does is fuel more. You can use that kind of stuff to keep that momentum. Look at all this. Look at us getting attacked. You got to help us. Kind of like, don't engage.
I will say I am amused at this point by conventions and pop media and, you know, media services and studios and publishers literally setting their own audience on fire. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's legitimately fun, especially as somebody that's kind of a nihilist the way I am, to watch like all of this media literally commit suicide in front of our eyes for the sake of making some literal nobody happy. It's great for me. I mean, I just sitting there. I'm watching them set themselves on fire, and I'm trying to find fucking marshmallows and chocolate and graham crackers because I'm gonna make a goddamn s'more on the fire.
The part of this too is I don't know how many people here have either worked a convention or volunteered or been involved. Things take forever. And a lot of the people working on these different, you know, festivals and conventions, I don't know exactly how Thought Bubble works or operates, but most of the time there's a lot of volunteers. It's a lot of people. It's not their full-time job. They have a full-time job. They have a family. They have other obligations, and they try to address things as they come along. It's a lot of stress. I've volunteered for a convention before. You know, you're just trying to get through your life and do all these other things and pay your bills and get things done. And then you get people emailing you, you know, angry this or that. It's a lot. So the fact that, you know, part of the complaint was it took like 8 weeks or whatever, and there was nothing. It's like, part of that is because you're just trying to get this show to happen. And your number one priority isn't one guest saying, I don't like this other guest, you need to pull them. That's just, when you're prioritizing, you're like, I need to get the program done. I need to get the panels set up. I need to make sure there's moderators here, what's going on. And that's not your number one priority. And then it also ended up getting, because then it turned into, you know, calling out the convention. Then people started going after some of the people working in the convention. And then other people from Shortbox and other places were like, no, don't go after that. That person's not responsible. It's a mess. Just don't do that kind of stuff.
Wolfsteed 3D here says, you know, thank you so much for supporting the channel. For as long as adults in the room are not willing to stand their ground, we will see this over and over again. That's a pretty interesting prophecy, Tristan. We know that Frank is scheduled to appear, I believe, at Baltimore Comic-Con. Now that the precedent's set, Do you think they'll just keep going after him until there's no more opportunities to go and meet Frank Miller, maybe get your Dark Knight Returns or your Daredevil Born Again comic signed, or even say thank you?
No,
It's possible.
Frank is too. He's Frank Miller. Like, he's anyone that has a shred of integrity will stand behind and say, "Look, I'm sorry that this happened, and I'm sorry that you feel uncomfortable, but no, I don't think so." And to add a little bit to what Joe was saying, about not bothering her. Even when I covered this, I didn't mention her name. Mm-hmm. I don't think that in this sort of thing where people are used to getting to attracting outrage for free publicity, we should give it to them. Like, I just don't want to talk about who she is, or I'll talk about the situation. But I blurred out her name. I did all of that. There should be no hate sent to her, but also there should be no, well, I'm going to get those man babies and I'm going to support you now. So just don't mention her name. It's not necessary. Nobody would know her anyway.
Yeah, she does not matter. Don't give her oxygen. She does not matter. That's not a
nice thing to say, Crazy. She does matter. She
doesn't. Not within the sphere of the con. I don't care. She's not within this convention. I don't care.
She's not a human being, Wes.
Quit bitching. I don't care. Quit bitching. I don't care. Don't give her oxygen.
Stop being an asshole. She does matter. She's a human being.
Oh, cry. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. I don't care. She does not deserve the attention she's getting. She just needs to go away and do her thing. Point. No, it isn't. I'm saying she don't matter.
In the context of the world, she does not matter.
Correct.
Neither do I, though, so whatever.
But,
she's a butthead. She just did this for attention. It don't matter.
I don't think it was the first time either.
Correct.
No, it wasn't. I don't know the details, but it did. This has happened before. But one thing I'll just throw in terms of predictions for the future, there's a lot of. I feel like people then focus on the public outrage stuff, but what's actually going to happen, I think, is you'll still get cons that are going to want Frank Miller, and they're going to see the people who make trouble at cons and not invite those people.
That's would be the better solution.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, because hopefully that's what happens. We do have Kenneth Dowling in the house, here to support and wanted to welcome some new faces to the panel, or at least to me. Hit the like button and enjoy, folks. Absolutely, hit the like button, and definitely thank you very much to Carrie and Tristan for showing up. First appearances on the channel, and really appreciate that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, Kenneth. We've also got Kenneth. I'm all over the place. Eric Canetti in the house, comic book artist. He's got Arc of Theater coming up soon. I believe it's going to be debuting on Kickstarter and Indiegogo soon. Reps just look feeble, or Thought Bubbles reps look feeble and ineffective. Holy Terror was eye-rolling but dangerous. What the fuck is the definition of dangerous anymore? Cotton candy, children laughing. So mind-bogglingly stupid.
The little attachments that children can choke on in a G.I. Joe package are more dangerous than Frank Miller.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, and there's also a weird, and this goes well beyond Holy Terror and Frank Miller and all that, but there's an odd mentality that people come out against these kind of things as if reading a book like Holy Terror is going to be like, wow, I've been, a democratic socialist my whole life, but this book made me realize that I should be, a far-right vigilante that goes around and, it's like, that's not how these things work. Like it's very weird to me, and everyone does it. I mean, it's not just unique to this situation or this ideology or anything like that. It's everyone kind of gets mixed up in that, and then accuses other people like, you guys are trying to censor us for doing this, and then they do the same thing. It's a big headache all around.
But that's the problem, is everyone does it. So it takes away from the ones that actually should be talking about the real situations in the world, whether it's something like Harvey Weinstein or Amber Heard or something like that.
Sure.
When everyone does it and you cry wolf, nothing matters.
That's why I'm saying they don't matter. You have to filter those people out because they're only doing it just because they want attention.
I think the industry's just empowered the Twitter mob too much.
Exactly.
I find
empower the Twitter mob too much.
I find it greatly amusing that, and very, very ironic that Frank wrote a book about fighting terror, and then, the people decided to cancel him using terror tactics. It's kind of great.
That's because the people that tried to cancel him are people that support groups that use those types of tactics anyway. So I won't say their names on here, but you know the far
Jesus,
left-wing
Pele.
crazies. So they do support them.
This is a.
I'm
How do you know that?
I'm
Really,
just amused.
really, US.
Let's
Let's
change the
I don't
subject.
understand what your problem is today.
Oh my goodness.
One more fucking time, dude. Come on, chill out. We're just here to have a conversation about comic books. King KDI has to say 2 questions: where are the comic pros to stand with Frank? And if Frank can be canceled for his work from 10 years ago, who else really can feel safe? And that's the crux of the problem here, Joe, is no one can feel safe. Because eventually, everything is going to be offensive to somebody, right?
Yeah, I mentioned it briefly yesterday, and then I'll let it go to the rest of the panel. But, Howard Chaykin, people were upset about a few years ago over divided states of hysteria. People periodically come out against John Byrne because of things he's said, and he has said insane stuff. Do not get me wrong, and I don't agree with it, but I can read the Dark Phoenix saga and his Fantastic Four run and his Superman without signing off on every single statement the man has ever made. It's that kind of stuff. Dan Panosian a couple of years ago with the Female Furies cover, everyone got upset about. That's where it starts getting dicey, but I do think long term it's going to be more like I was saying, where it's like more and more conventions are going to be like, they're not going to make a big stink out of it. They're just not going to invite the kind of people that stir this stuff up, because Frank Miller, John Byrne, Howard Chaykin, and people like that make money. But yeah. So.
Yes, they put asses in seats. I did see Raphael Grandpa supporting Frank, though.
Good.
So that was something that I was actually surprised to see.
He was the one.
I did see him. He was very supportive. In I saw it on. I think he was on Instagram. He was. It might have been Twitter, but he was posting shots from Dark Knight and Dark Knight 2, talking about how Frank was a goddamn legend, and basically shut up.
The other thing here, Carrie, is we're getting some pretty watered down entertainment nowadays. It feels like everything's being rebooted. And now you can't really blame people. Why would you want to go out there and create anything new that has anything to say? Because eventually it's just going to get you in trouble, because it won't be in vogue and you'll end up getting canceled for it.
Yeah, it feels like everybody wants to stay safe and just stick with the same sandbox and not go outside of it because they don't want to offend somebody, or they don't want to depict something that somebody could twist and turn for their own liking and say, no, you're offending me.
Yeah, it's just the craziest stuff that we're seeing nowadays, Pele. What's your prediction, Pele? Is Frank going to make it to Baltimore, or do you think someone's finally going to stand up to this?
I think that they'll probably kick him, because the little whiny babies now have seen, they've tasted blood, and they're going to keep going for more. That's what they do. That's how they operate. And until somebody, tells them to shut the fuck up and, sit them down and tell them that what they're doing isn't going to work, then they're just going to keep on doing it. So.
You were so close to quoting Rocky Horror Picture Show there.
Well, no, but Pele's got a point here. They, look, they made an accusation without proof and got result. Now the result is the proof to use to justify the accusation again. So now it's going to be known bigot, blah, blah, blah. And where's the proof? Well, Thought Bubble canceled him for being a bigot. Therefore, obviously, they know that he's a bigot.
You got Tim Lim's Wikipedia refers to him as a white supremacist Tim Lim, even though he's Asian.
I know. I mean, we're in fucking clown world at this point,
Wait,
And-
Wikipedia says Tim Lim's a white supremacist?
Yeah, it's
You have
Never,
got
it's
to be.
one of his comic profiles. I can't remember which one. but
Holy
it's out
shit.
there.
yeah,
Because it was in an article once.
yeah, because of the My Hero Macadamia and all of his pro-Trump stuff that makes
Jesus.
him. Everybody white supremacists is wrong, but that's beside the point. No, but the proof is now the result that they got. No, it doesn't have to go any further back. So now all the rest of the conventions that do boot him, you're gonna. I mean, is Baltimore? Which Baltimore show is it? Is it the
main Comic-Con in October? At the end of October, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was that or Wizard. Oh, okay. All right, so I have a feeling they might actually hold to their guns. If it was Wizard, they'd back out.
Yeah.
We'll see. We've got TNN, I think it's D11. Frank Miller goes after everyone, liberals, conservatives, and so on. That's one of the interesting points here, Joe, is if you go and read a Frank Miller comic, he's going to do some crazy stuff to people. I think we've seen Bruce Wayne like feeding rats to Robin.
Yeah, and I mean, in Dark Knight 2, he goes after Paul Levitz. So the whole bit with Cosmic Boy in there was supposed to be an FU to Paul Levitz because Cosmic Boy's his favorite character. That's why he made him go bad like that.
Well, I mean, has everybody forgotten exactly how Reagan was treated in Dark Knight Returns?
I know.
I mean, let's be realistic here. Reagan was like the way the Biden actually is today, the way he was depicted in the comics. Like he was out of his mind. He'd been reelected the 15th time, and all that kind of stuff. And he was just a puppet president. And that I'm telling you, conservative wouldn't have done that. A conservative wouldn't have done that.
See, here's the thing. Frank he's a contrarian
Yes.
and he's just out there. He likes to poke things. He's that kid with a stick that pokes everything just to see what the response is.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, honestly, I feel like as a creative person, that's how you should be.
I like to see the creators do things like that because it shows me that they're not stuck in their lane. They're not stuck in their side of the room, and they're actually going to branch out, and they're going to have satire that appeals to a broader audience, and they're not just kind of like, well, I'm sticking to my ideology, and I'm not going to do anything else. So.
We do have Exploding Pretty here. Remember your affirmation from the Church of Anti-Racism. The accusation is the proof.
I mean, look, Frank's he's an iconoclast and a contrarian. If you're surprised that iconoclasts and contrarians do shit just to provoke people into an emotional response, isn't that the point of fucking art? To get a response?
Sure, yeah. And one of Frank's comics that doesn't get talked about enough, Perch and I done a video on it, was Marvel Fanfare 18, where he drew that Captain America story. I've mentioned this before on the channel several months ago at this point. Find that comic and check it out. It's just fantastic if you want something to read from Frank that isn't the main stuff everyone talks about.
Thank you very much. We've also got Wolfstein 3D. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. The person has a history of cancel campaigns since 2017. Miller is the big lion head on the wall now. Do you really think they'll stop now? No. That's the thing. Once you get a taste of it, you gotta keep going.
I mean, Howard Chaykin will never have the career he had before he was destroyed that way. Frank Miller will never have the same thing. And the thing is, Frank is apparently, the guy can be kind of a dick, but apparently he's super, super personable when he's, if you catch him at the right time. He's generous. The man has mentored a lot of people in the comics industry. He has given his time and, let's be perfectly honest, his fucking body to to comics and the medium and art in general. Yeah, I'm betting that a lot of this has to do with who he is and why he's successful.
Yeah, that's where I was wondering how much of this is jealousy. Like, to go once they know he's going to be the big star and they want the attention on them, so they decide to do something like this.
Well, there's a
I don't know if
lot.
it's jealousy, but it's certainly a moment of opportunity where you
Yeah.
can make the accusation and then
Sure.
get the word out.
Well, there are a lot of people in the comics industry, and we've seen it even on from bigger creators. I've seen Kurt Busiek say this before, like, "Oh well, we're clearing the stage to give other people voices," and look, I will come back to it. I've said the same thing about indie comics that think that the big two dying is a good thing. Nobody else can fail their way into your success. And this is a problem with a lot of indie creators. They think they are being kept down by big creators being more popular. And if we just got them out of the way, everyone would recognize my brilliance because I'm not stuck in their shadow anymore.
Yeah, but even looking at stuff that Frank Miller has made stuff for DC since then.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get him out of the way. You're just not going to get Frank Miller out of the way. Same with, Warren Ellis, but probably he's gone for a while.
The thing is, though, now they've been trying this with Miller on and off for 10 years since Dark Knight or since Holy Terror came out. This is the first time it actually worked. They were trying the same thing with Warren Ellis for years, and then when it finally worked, it only has to work once, and then their career's fucked afterwards. Howard Chaykin, they were trying it with him for a while, and it wasn't until he got Divided States of Hysteria. His career is essentially done. Frank Miller, they got him once. All they have to do is get him once. So his career is still over. He will never work at DC again after this. I will tell you that right now.
His last couple books for DC haven't been great anyway, but I don't really think like he needs it anymore. He's 64 years old. He looks like he's 80. He needs to retire. Now, as far as convention goes, I think even a lot of people would love to see him. I would love to, but I don't know. I don't know that that'll be able to happen.
Yeah. It doesn't matter when the book came out. It matters when the cancellation is effective. And it was effective July about 27th, 2021. That was, you could put that as the death date on Frank Miller's career.
Yeah. I agree.
It's I got to talk to Frank Miller once. I was at there was an Inhumans screening for the first 2 episodes, and I went as a guest with Martha Thomas's, and I felt bad because I definitely laughed out loud at least like 3 times at points that I don't think were intentionally funny. But afterwards, we get out, and Martha and Frank have known each other for decades. They've gone to they saw Shrapnel at CBGB's together in like the late 70s, stuff like that. So we get out, and Frank's walking there with like a handler, and we end up talking to Frank on the street for a little bit after. And I was like, "Yo, Frank, what'd you think of Inhumans?" He just looks at me for a minute, and then just goes, "Okay." That was that was that. That's my experience with Frank Miller.
He liked it more than I did. All right, do we have anything else to say about Thought Bubble canceling Frank Miller? Anybody?
Just quit giving her oxygen. Just quit using her name. She doesn't deserve free press. That's my main thing with this.
Well, I quoted her. So if you
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, just in general, don't bother her. Don't give her free press.
Absolutely not.
Don't harass her, because it will become something more. Oh, those right wing. Yeah, no.
But that's what Twitter's for.
Well,
and that's the bad part. Twitter allows for that. I mean, it's like the megaphone for either
crazy.
for either crazies that are screaming about people being canceled, or so they can scream about people that are talking mean things to them because they're screaming about people being canceled. So it's like, okay.
I think the problem is that and this is the double-edged sword of this type of behavior. If you leave the crazy alone, the only thing that gets heard is the crazy. But if you respond to the crazy, then you're now giving it oxygen. There's no way to handle it effectively. You lost by playing the game. It's fucking war games playing tic-tac-toe. The only way to win is to not play, but they're going to keep playing. You just have to do your own thing outside of them.
It's an enigma. What are you supposed to do?
Yes.
All right, so I think that covers it.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
we're moving on. We've got more stuff happening in DC Comics this week. I know. Tristan, you've been a bigger fan of Tom King's work at DC than I. You've enjoyed a few things that I have not. This week we've got Tom King finally putting the nail in the coffin of Adam Strange and Strange Adventures. We saw his wife slapping him in the face several times, the dissolution of their marriage. He pulled a gun on his wife. All these kind of things happened. What did you think, Tristan? Were you a big fan of this? Is it typical Tom King?
It's typical Tom King, but I love Adam Strange. Adam Strange and Mr. Miracle, there's a few of those side characters that are really like the best of the best. Now, with that being said, I don't mind what Tom King is doing because it's Elseworlds. It's not continuity. So, with him
DC,
being
the Omniverse, everything's continuity.
But is it though?
According to the Omniverse, what was explained in Dark Knight's Death Metal, it is.
Yeah, but we don't know what's continuity and what's not half the time. So, I just consider the Bat Family continuity in the action in Superman. Everything else is kind of just around it. Now, this is very much the same thing as like Mr. Miracle. I feel like Tom King knows how to play. Like, if you hate, and one thing I noticed about your review, Wes, was you giving the kid away, right? Like, that's a terrible thing to do. Obviously, it's a terrible thing to do, and Adam Strange at this point has no redeeming qualities. But if you hate that, then you have to hate the Highfather also. He did the exact same thing with Darkseid.
I don't like Highfather.
Okay, well then you're good. I don't mind. Like when he pulled the gun, I was like, whoa. But in Alana's defense, she had every right to slap him multiple times. Like, he gave their child away. It's not emasculating, in my opinion. It's deserved.
I didn't say it was deserved. I would have slapped him too. What are you doing? You can't give your kid away.
He completely deserved it, but I don't mind the story.
Yeah, but Strange wouldn't have done any of this to begin with. So it's
That's
like,
agreed.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
They had a nice marriage until Tom King came along.
Tom King ruins everything.
the best way to deal with King, frankly, is just nothing that he writes is continuity. Nothing he writes is
Exactly.
important, and just kind of just log it away to something. Oh, that's interesting. Just kind of flush it down the toilet. It's not going to matter in a couple of years anyway. So, because he's so far outside the norm, other writers going to come in and say that's just stupid, and they're going to just write as if it never happened.
Yeah, but it's Adam Strange, so we won't get another story for like 12 years.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other stuff that's older that you can enjoy. Just kind of like
Exactly.
I really like that Shane Davis Adam Strange from like 15 years ago. That was really good. That's the last time I read anything with Adam Strange because, well, I fucking know better.
All right, well, we got Lane Kramer chiming in. He says, I always thought Adam Strange was one of DC's most earnest heroes, not a superhero like Superman. He is a normal man who acts heroic. Tom King killed that. Now, Joe, you had not planned on reading this comic book. And I appreciate you going and picking up a copy and checking it out. What did you come away with?
I stopped reading this around issue 7. It was when I was like, I'm good now. And so I picked I just did a little research to figure out what was going on, and then I picked this up. And the big takeaway here for me is give this comic to someone and give them I Am Not Starfire, have them flip through it, and then ask them which of the two books censors the profanity.
Good point.
And no one will get that right. And it's just the kind of thing, and this is a separate point for mine, all that stuff, but it's just like, guys, come on. Like, what are you doing? Like that was the big takeaway for me. But overall, I mean, it looks, the book looks nice. I like, Mitch Gerards and, Doc Shaner, I think was the other artist on the, all that. Like, I like that. It reads fine. It's not that it's a bad story. It's just, it's not Adam Strange. And if you read it and you go like, okay, this is not Adam Strange at all, this is some other guy, then it's fine. This feels like it would actually read better as either a Vertigo book or if Vertigo was still here, as a different character, or in a creator owned or something like that, because there's interesting elements in here. It's just, I love goofy Silver Age Adam Strange. I love when Adam Strange shows up in things like, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, or when he showed up in, James Robinson's Starman and that kind of stuff. So it's so alien to that character. That's really the thing that pops up for me.
Yeah, why doesn't Tom King stick to characters like Constantine that are already miserable and technically awful people, and then you could redeem them at the end, because that's what Constantine does. Just stick with the people that are already miserable.
I know the
assholes.
answer to this. It's because
He likes to tear them down.
The same reason why a lot of minority characters that exist are ignored, so that they could gender and race swap other characters, because it's not enough to just make something that you want to make. You have to ruin something else in the process.
Yep, that's it.
All right,
don't get noticed if you don't ruin something.
I was a little scared where that was going for a second.
Yeah. Wolfstein 3D says Tom King or How to Make a Career Writing Misery Report. I called him the M. Night Shyamalan of depression in comics. Kenneth Dowling, Tom King should stop writing comics, period.
Yes.
I don't think he writes period
writer.
comics.
That's the problem. It's just he's doing the same gimmick, the same trope over and over and over, and he's just ruining characters.
I feel like this is just a stand-in for him not going to couples therapy.
I want to see his therapist notes. I want to see his therapist notes from when he goes to therapy. I bet that's a romp.
You want him to see your therapist notes? Come on.
I don't care. He can read mine. I'll read his. That's fine.
We'll have a
Wait, you
standoff
people
on the
fucking
channel.
go to therapy?
Yeah.
I just shoot guns and drink.
Well, you do
Seems
that
a
and
lot
go
healthier.
to therapy.
I have friends. I don't need therapy.
I don't know. What do you think, Carrie? Were you impressed by this comic? What do you think about the continued deconstruction of characters by Tom King? And I will admit, I forgot to mention this part. He did kill Crypto this week in Super.
Oh, wow.
No, he killed her last
So he killed the
month.
fucking dog.
He confirmed the dog was dead this week.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of seeing certain characters just constantly being deconstructed. It seems to be like the trope. Let's take Captain America, let's take Adam Strange, and let's just tear them down. Let's have Hellcat sit there and tell Tony how he's not good enough. It's getting boring.
Joe, is Hope the new trope that's coming back?
What you're making me think now is like, have him do like Silver Age Supergirl, like Linda Lee Danvers, Kara Zor-El, and just be like, oh, the robot in the tree broke out and just goes on a murderous rampage. And then you do a whole bit where, it's just one issue, 20 pages of her having to go to the vet to put Streaky down.
Oh.
Let's do that.
God,
Oh, that
nice.
sounds terrible.
Yeah, no. I would not buy that.
And she's just like, let me hold Streaky while you just the whole. Why not?
The viewers are asking, am I being serious? Yes, if you read Supergirl, A Woman of Tomorrow, it was her 21st birthday. She went to a planet with a red sun so she could get drunk. And at the end of the first issue, they did shoot Crypto. It was not confirmed that the dog died, and then they confirmed this week that the dog did not make it. Crypto is gone. At least in that multiverse.
Did he kill Ace the Bat Hound while he was on Batman too? Fucking
Not
Christ,
even-
man.
Good God.
Can we do a whole issue where we
I
find
want
out?
John Wick versus Tom King, the comic.
Yeah.
I just want to see John Wick kill him. At this point.
Do a whole issue where it turns out that Crypto had a litter of puppies with another dog, and all but one of them died, and
Oh my God.
Tara has to deliver the
Tom King?
news to the one dog that's left.
Oh my
that his
God.
father died.
But
Oh
he
my
finally made, at least in my opinion, he's finally making Supergirl interesting again. Like, she's.
He kind of just made a Rooster Cogburn. He's stealing the.
I don't
story
know who
from
that is.
True Grit. It's if you've seen that John Wayne movie.
True
It's,
Grit.
I've never seen a John Wayne movie.
They-
But
What?
Oh well, now we need to stop the whole goddamn panel. Kristen, go
I
watch
don't
John
watch
Wayne.
movies, I read.
well, it's a book. It's all based off of a book. It's one of the best Western books. Everybody. That's beside the point. The little alien girl is Maddie Ross, and Supergirl is Rooster Cogburn. It's like literally ripping it off.
Sure, I totally agree with you. But Supergirl's at least interesting again. Yeah, and
Basically, Rooster Cogburn.
she's always been like the side character, and it finally feels like she's actually like the center of her. Well, kind of, even though it's told from a different perspective. But it finally feels like she's getting her own 2 feet. Whereas with stuff like Rorschach and even Strange Adventures, it's Tom King over and over again. Where at least he's working on a female character because he writes females stronger always.
Well, he killed the dog. Was it worth it, Tristan?
It's Elseworld. Remember, it's Tom King. It's
Elseworld.
Elseworld.
Give him time. Put him on Scooby Doo and watch him kill fucking Scooby.
Even during the
Blood.
during the Deceased series, none of the super pets got offed. I mean, let's be realistic
Wait,
here.
didn't they become like terrible like zombies though?
No,
Oh, no, they did save
that's
it at
the
the
Superman
end.
and
You're right.
Batman.
You're right. I'm sorry.
they actually went out and retrieved each other. They went out
I
and said,
remember that now.
Crypto and Ace were like, well, we need to go and save all the other super pets because I'm sure that they're really messed up right now. So they're like going back and retrieving the horse and the other animals, the cat and all that, and they all show up at the
All right, guys.
Hold
thing at
on,
the same
I
time.
just figured something out. We can
Joe's
figure
been
out.
dying to jump in here.
No,
Doc.
no,
You
no,
gotta let him go.
I can do it. I'll do it.
We can finally get rid of Tom King. All we have to do is get the We Rate Dogs guy to notice that he killed Crypto, and Tom King's fucking done.
All right, just do it.
Doc got me
I don't
thinking.
support cancel culture, Doc.
Doc got me thinking about what Tom King would do with Scooby Doo, and here's what I think he'd do.
Oh no.
I think it would be revealed that Fred and Daphne have been behind all of this the whole time. And there will be a horrible confrontation at the end where, Velma has no choice but to kill both of them. And they have to swear a pact, Velma, Scooby, and Shaggy, that they will never reveal that, Fred and Daphne had been murdered by them, and that they have to lie about how they died so that they're remembered as heroes.
Oh boy.
I
Wow.
like it. I like it. And it would follow in the line of Tom King stealing from much better creators by stealing the end of Christopher Nolan's Batman, the second Batman movie.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We've also got Paul. You guys are great. Keep on keeping on. Well, thank you very much. You're great, Paul. We've also got Kenneth Dowling. He's seen True Grit, both versions with John Wayne and Jeff Bridges, the one with the Coen brothers and Matt Damon. You might have saw that one if you watch movies.
That one's actually
I also
that's pretty
read
good.
books. He has Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huck Finn. Required reading when I was a kid. True Grit's just an amazing story. If you like Supergirl, Tristan, you would love that book.
I'll have to check it out. I never had heard of it until I seen your review of Supergirl. And I'm like, he's probably wrong, Definitely wrong.
I'm telling you, beat by beat.
I'll have to check it out.
Maddie Ross's dad is murdered. She goes and finds the toughest bounty hunter in the world, Rooster Cogburn, and brings him on her side. He doesn't want to take her with him, and then eventually she tags along, has a horse. She has to cross the river, everything.
But there's no space bus. I bet there's no space bus.
No, because it's a Western.
To space. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I don't know. So what is worse, technically, Carrie? Is it destroying Adam Strange's marriage, the fact that he's a terrible father, that he's destroyed an Earth and given up his child, or killing a dog? It's tough.
He sounds like he's working through something through his comics.
That's the theory, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know, Joe. Do you think this deconstruction kind of period that we've been in for like the last 15 years it's got to have an end? It's got to be a sell date, right?
Yeah, it has to end. But I believe a famous deconstruction comic had once said that nothing ever ends. So I believe it's what's the exact line? Nothing ever ends like Vite or whatever it is at the end of Watchmen. And so yeah, maybe this never ends. Maybe this is just what we're stuck with until we're all dead.
That's
and that's a good point, because deconstruction can be done correctly.
It can
be done correctly. And I think Tom King, when it comes to stuff like Mr. Miracle, has done it correctly. Mr. Miracle will always and forever be one of my favorite graphic novels ever. I love it. That's why Tom King gets a pass for me as a read. But he does, at this point, it feels like he's doing things just to shock.
Tristan, you do remember seeing Darkseid eating a fucking cheese and vegetable plate, right?
Oh yeah, I totally do. It was
ironic, Doc.
Exactly.
So awful.
Darth Bobcat
part of
the channel. He's got a pitch, Joe. Instead of Supergirl True Grit, we do it with Lobo in a parody satire. If it was 90s Lobo, nobody's getting out of it, little girl included.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, that's a Tom King story we can all get behind. Not only does Lobo get the guy, but he kills the girl he was working for, so he can have all the booty.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he? Is the
Did she
question.
Pay him yet?
Yeah, exactly. It's like as soon as he's paid, like, why not?
The main man would take her out. So, Dark Admiral March Harris saying Mr. Miracle sucks. Tristan, tell him, give him the business.
What? He's
no
right.
way. I love. Okay, so everything about that story keeps you like wondering and looking back and going, is he dead? Is he alive? Is it the Annie life equation? What's going on? And some of the best stuff about that was like literally Barda and Scott just like killing people as they talk about their condo. Like, I don't know why, but I found that fucking I found that hilarious. Yeah. And it's like
sounds like a Tarantino story.
LOL, so random.
Awesome. Shut up. It was just everything about that. Like, you didn't know what happened, and it kept me guessing for months. I absolutely loved it.
We do have a question from Kenneth Dowling. Sorry, Doc, but Kenneth got his question in first. This is for our guests, Carrie and Tristan. I think it's actually spelled Kerry, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so a little bit of misspelling, but he's talking to you here. What are your favorite writers, artists, superheroes, and comic runs? We'll go to you, Carrie. Who's your favorite writer, artist, superhero, comic runs?
I love a lot of mostly older artists like Chuck Dixon. I like some of Frank Miller, not much of his newer stuff. Artists, I love Ethan Van Sciver. I love his art. I do like what's his name?
Jay Lee, were you saying?
No, not Jay Lee. Scott Campbell.
J. Scott Campbell.
J. Scott Campbell's art. And like I said, the older stuff like Burns, Jim Lee back with the X-Men days, the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking Doc's language. All right. Tristan, what's your favorite writer, artist, superhero, comic runs?
That is seriously such a hard question. Writers right now, Tinian. I'm loving his his Batman's pretty good, but I'm loving his other stories. Seriously, sure. Department of Truth is so good. Something is killing the children, stuff like that. Right now, yeah,
Yeah.
Now, as far as artists, there's so many. I love Steven Sajak. He's one of my favorites, just simply for Harleen alone. I absolutely love him. Alex Ross, Kingdom Come, stuff like that. Tony Daniels. Probably would have to add Scott Snyder in there with favorite writers. Just Batman and Noctura, something amazing. And then Jeff Johns with his JSA runs. I absolutely love Jeff Johns. Even his Shazam that I guess it ended about a year ago. Everything about like bringing in Superboy Prime. I love that character. So it was nice to see, especially compared to this new Shazam, which is terrible. So there's so much. I think I answered about comic runs and all of that. But yeah, Kingdom Come and Mr. Miracle are probably my top 2 graphic novels, at least. I'm not a big I know a lot of people like Frank Miller. I like Dark Knight Returns, but it's so meh to me. Nightfall. No Man's Land. Oh my God, I love No Man's Land. It's so good. And 52. These are so underrated. I really need to do retrospectives of them because I could talk about them way too long.
Absolutely. So there you go, Kenneth. Welcome to the channel, and now we can know a little bit more about your sensibility.
Yay!
Definitely appreciate that. So, Tristan, you probably, as far as people I know, you like Tom King more than anybody. What it is? Can you stand up for Tom King one final time as he's destroyed Adam Strange, he's destroyed Batman, Mr. Terrific. What else did he destroy? He destroyed Scott Free. He destroyed Mark Doyle. A lot of destruction. Oh, well, Wally West.
Mark Doyle.
Crisis.
I'm still with the idea that maybe we'll get the reveal about Mr. Terrific that he was kind of playing Alana there. I'm hoping, because that was a true character assassination. I'll give you that one. I like Tom King. He gets a pass for me initially because of, like I said, Mr. Miracle and Vision. Vision was fantastic. And a lot of those elements we've seen used in the MCU. I like the way he writes strong women. Now, with that being said, he doesn't need to necessarily emasculate the men in order to do so. I think if he could find that balance, it would be a lot better. But I also like how he tells stories about side characters. And he always, not with Batman and Catwoman. I actually dropped that. And I dropped Rorschach too. But he tells the characters that aren't in the main line. And I think I think that's a little bit harder. And I know, shocker, I liked Heroes in Crisis at first. I'm glad it's retcon now because I think they went way too far with it. But I think just because he started out so good, he still gets that pass. And I'm doing the same thing with Tom Taylor, I notice now. He started out really good with Deceased and some of the other stuff. And now I'm like, okay, he gets a pass and automatic buy. And now I'm kind of regretting some of those decisions. But I don't know. I like him.
We'll get to Tom Taylor here in a few seconds. Does anyone else have anything else to say about Tom King destroying Adam Strange, Wally West, or any of the other heroes that are on his hit list so far?
This is par for the course. He's been doing it since day one. Sorry, he ruined Vision too.
Oh.
Yeah, he has mental problems, and he's working them out.
Well,
by destroying
that I
everything.
didn't disagree with that. He definitely does. He definitely had some issues when I'm assuming when he was in the CIA. But I like hearing these whole war stories, something that I've never personally gotten into besides maybe like Sergeant Rock.
I mean, I personally I think he's an untalented one-note joke. Who
I wish somebody,
just does whatever the hell he feels like, without any rhyme or reason to justify it with the characters he's doing it with. He just
has
does
no
it
respect.
He hasn't. The man has zero respect for any existing continuity or characters. Sorry.
Yep. I don't like him. He gets off on destroying, characters that other people loves and then laughing at everybody's reaction to it. He's like, I wouldn't say a comic book terrorist, but he is a sociopath in this regard. So,
but he puts a poem in it, so it's okay, right?
Ugh. No, it's not.
Always.
I wish that they would break his fingers and let him write comics again.
That's pretty crazy.
I just wish he was going back to getting.
We'll end it on that note.
Yeah.
Let's go over to ScarJo. She's suing Disney for releasing Black Widow at the same time on Disney Plus as well as in theaters, claiming she may have lost upwards of $50 million. It sounds like some other people are jumping on board the bandwagon.
Wow.
Carrie, feels like this thing is building up some momentum, and people are kind of backing ScarJo on this one.
Yeah, I heard also like what Emma Stone might be suing next, and then in a way, I kind of almost feel like this is karma for Disney. It's definitely karma for Disney.
Definitely.
I would love to know what was like in the contract exactly. I mean, for them to turn around and pull the whole COVID card on her seems kind of like, I don't know.
I think they were. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think they were just trying to make her look bad.
Yeah,
and they did
exactly.
the same thing by releasing how much she made. It doesn't matter how much she made. If her contract stated that she gets this, this, and this, if somebody at work, at my work, would say, okay, well, you get a 2% bonus every patient that comes in. Okay, well, then where's my bonus? Like, I'm going to want, even if it's $10. I know comparing $10 to 20 million is different. But if she's owed it, she has every reason to sue.
Yeah.
This is Disney pulling the COVID card to justify them screwing somebody else. We've seen a lot of everyone pulling the COVID card to justify them screwing somebody else for most of the past year. This is really not any different, because apparently that justifies it in magic ways.
Yeah, but she doesn't even need this money. She's got all that Colin Jost money. So,
but look, she had an agreement. She had a contract, and the assumption is that they are going to release it like every other movie. And when there was the possibility that they weren't going to, she still reached out and engaged. And they said, hey, if we do it some other way, we'll discuss it. And then they just didn't discuss it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like, there's not really a good analogy here. It's just, they were supposed to do something they didn't do. And now they have to pay, and they're trying to hide, like, they don't want to admit, hey, we fucked up. So now it's COVID.
Yeah,
You can't blame us,
the whole
COVID.
smearing thing is just ridiculous. It's
Well, she
absolutely-
wants Disney Plus money, right? Like, I'm pretty sure she thinks not only is she what she's due for it not being a complete theatrical release, but now she should get Disney Plus money because they never talked to her about it. But I'm afraid Disney's going to come back and say, look, you've really never had a hit outside of MCU. Like, she has kind of Atomic Blonde, maybe, but it wouldn't have done that much better. So you're not due this. But I don't know how they can go ahead and prove that.
No, that wasn't her.
That was
Charlize.
Yeah, that was Charlize Theron.
Or not Atomic Blonde. Ghost in the Shell. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, look, first of all, we already had a Black Widow trilogy. It was called Red Sparrow, Anna, and Atomic Blonde.
Mm-hmm.
If you just use those as the Black Widow trilogy, it's actually a really good trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, look, that's the thing. She figured that once they were going to do the kind of mixed release, she should get, since they're going to take money away from theaters and her contract was based on theaters, that she should get a chunk of the Disney Plus money. And we know that that's what she was gonna demand. They knew
she has every right to.
Yeah, they knew that that's what she was going to demand. They just didn't discuss it with her.
Oh, I heard what they're talking about was her lawyers did when they decided to go with the Disney Plus launch too at the same time as in the theaters, that her lawyers did try to approach Disney about it, and they just froze them out.
Yeah,
they just would not talk to them.
That's even worse. I didn't know
She
that.
tried to.
Wow.
They tried to reach Disney's lawyers about it, and they were just like, oh, not listening. Oh, oh, not listening. You know, and that's no way to act.
It's like that email that you get from your boss that told you to do something, or somebody that wants to do business with you and said, "Hey, we got some time. You got to do this," and then you kind of forget about it, and you go, "Oh yeah, I never got that email. Oops."
Yep. Oh, no,
When they released Wonder Woman 84, did Warner Brothers give Gal Gadot like a bonus or something?
Yep, and
Yes.
Patty Jenkins.
So that's probably why she thought she was probably going to get the same type of deal.
Yeah.
Warner.
and what was so bad about it is Disney was bragging about how much they made on Disney Plus, $60 million. Oh, we
Yeah.
made $60 million opening
Because-
weekend from Disney Plus. Look at the money we made from this. And she's going, where's mine?
Well, no,
Exactly.
here's the thing. Disney put themselves in a fucked up position because they ignored her. They ignored her lawyers. Then, whenever it was kind of a flop, like they were projecting like 200 million or at least 150 million. So they ended up having to actually add the Disney Plus money into it because everybody knew what the box office money was to get to that 140 million to say we hit our projection. So they needed to, it was either fail publicly or set themselves up, because they could have hidden how much money was made on Disney Plus.
Well, they did 140 worldwide on box office. The other extra 60 would have made it 200.
No, they did 80 million worldwide
Domestic.
on box
They
office.
Did 60 worldwide.
60, they did 80 box office. They did 60 Disney Plus. They added it to 140. They needed to hit that 120, 140 mark. So they either had to fail and have a flop publicly or break their normal standard, which is we don't release Disney Plus numbers.
I think you're only talking domestic numbers because I thought it was 140 with international numbers.
Yes, is what it is.
140 included the Disney Plus.
It didn't. I'm bringing up the numbers now. I'll be on it here in a second. You guys keep talking.
Well, the worldwide
regardless-
is really kind of weird anyway because they get a lot less from worldwide releases than they do from domestic.
But regardless, they put themselves in a position where they had to break their previous policy of we don't release Disney Plus, numbers in order to hit the estimate that they were announcing that they were going to hit and that they wouldn't have hit otherwise. They did it.
They did it for their.
They didn't do it for Cruella.
Well, maybe they did, but they did it to satisfy the investors.
No,
Yeah.
Well, it was partially that, but yes, they did it to satisfy the investors because Cruella hit its estimate in theaters, so they didn't need to announce what it made on Disney Plus. Black Widow didn't, and the investors needed to be reassured, so they announced their Disney Plus numbers, added it to their box office numbers to hit that number. And as a result,
it made 80 million domestic, 78 million overseas, another 60 from Disney Plus.
yes, and they needed to do that. They needed $140 million opening weekend domestic. Domestic.
Okay, Doc. Whatever. And we
And-
talked about King KDI's super chat here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. We've got one from Kenneth Dowling. Did we talk about Fast 9? And thank you to King KDI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we cover this one, Doc?
No, I
All right.
wasn't able to.
Fast 9 made nearly 700 million worldwide, and Black Widow's made half that because Disney Plus. A lot of money was left on the table. I think that's the big point here, Doc, is that it would have had a much bigger opening if they hadn't offered it on Disney Plus, but they wanted to grow the subscriber number.
Yes, and absolutely, that's the reason why they did it. They needed to. They were trying to, grow their subscriber as well as they know that there's a lot of their fans that aren't going out yet to watch movies. This is a movie that was too late and didn't matter. It was already, it already had, and it had already been interrupted with COVID from whenever it was first being announced. All the momentum on it was gone. They did leave a lot of money on the table by going to both ways, but also this movie wasn't going to be as successful as they expected, and they knew that. That's the reason why they did the dual open.
That's what they're doing on all of them. We've also got Darth back, Bobcat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I never hear Disney news that makes me rethink my boycott. Come on, guys, try to make it more quandary. You should be tempting me to forget. I can tell you right now, if I had Disney Plus in the Philippines, I would be a subscriber just because of all the wonderful kids content.
No.
Another subscription service is going to have that.
I can understand that. If you have kids, yes, absolutely. If you have kids, it's a very tempting offer for the amount of money it is. But I'm just not going to. I'm not giving them any money for that. It's just it just really annoys the shit out of me.
For Disney Plus, right? Do you like it?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it helps me keep up on these Marvel shows, I guess, so I can talk about it in places like this. But I mean, if you're a big fan of stuff like the computer wore tennis shoes, then how could you not?
Thank you very much, Darth Bobcat.
I mean, it's a pretty decent service. My brother has it for his toddler. I watch it from time to time. It doesn't have a lot of content that I'm really interested in, but yeah, it's not a bad product.
We've got Fatal J, the most fatal YouTuber in the entire world, says, "What does it mean when you drink too much Coca-Cola and your chest starts hurting?"
That's just gas buildup, Fatal J. You're not having a heart attack.
You need to cut a hole in your throat, stick a straw down there, and relieve the pressure.
It's also what happens when you do a little too much of the nose candy. Too much caffeine, sir.
Lay down on your side. Lay down on your side and rub your belly, and you'll fart and feel a lot better.
If I was there, you could lay down on your side, and I would rub your belly. I'm just putting that out. I'm your buddy like that.
Don't need that mental image.
And I got the first peek at Fatal J's Fatal comic, Ninja Blast, and I must say the art is fantastic. It's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to finally finish it. But that comic looks dope, Fatal J. You should be very proud. Looks awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh, apparently I had the wrong Coke. Sorry.
Yeah, you meant Coca-Cola. He put it in there.
I wasn't listening that well.
So obviously it's sound like obviously it's a big situation brewing for Disney. They've changed their release strategy. We know Warner Brothers did the same thing, Tristan, but they actually went out and paid like $200 million to talent because they realized they needed to change their contracts.
Well, yeah, they paid a lot to, I know right offhand it was Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. That's what they should have done, because now there's rumors, I don't know that it's been confirmed, but about Emma Stone. She might be next in line.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt. So, they made their bed. That's as simple as it is. They made their bed. They have to lie in it.
It's hard to feel sorry for big corporations.
Exactly. Sorry you lost out on your millions.
Oh, man, we've got Drew from Comics League. He's at Terrificon. What's up, guys, here at Terrificon? It's been insane. Show is packed and Moon Knight's almost gone. Oh, and F Thought Bubble. Absolutely. We already talked about that. And if you're going to Terrificon, it sounds like there are a couple of those Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night homage covers still available. Thank you very much to Drew with Comics League for supporting the channel.
I really should have reached out to Drew before and thought about buying a copy of that off him, but I'm not at Terrificon, and I don't want to take anything away from the paying patrons there. So if you are at Terrificon, or you were attempting to, or you're going to be there later, go see Drew.
Hey, Drew, set one of those aside for me. I'll send you the money.
Buy one of them dope variants.
Go visit Drew and Sean from Comics Elite. Also go visit John from 616 Comics, and then visit Larry from Larry's Comics.
Yeah.
All great guys that are at Terrificon this weekend.
Yeah, and you might as well also hit up who else is there? Graham Nolan, Dan Jurgens, Jerry Ordway,
Yeah,
Paul
well, Dave, you're super
Kupperberg.
excited for his interview on Tristan's channel.
Yes.
Heck yeah, I'm so excited.
Tim Sale's going to be there. So
Nice. Are you going to be there,
Oh.
Joe?
I'm not going there. I by the time I knew what was going on and like it's close. I got things that couldn't pull it off. But yes,
There,
I got to get
Mohegan
there.
Sun.
Some point.
You can go.
Yeah.
gamble.
No, I've been to Mohegan Sun before. But
All right, we've probably talked about ScarJo enough. It's time to get back into comic books. Let's talk about Tom Taylor's new Jon Kent, Superman, Son of Kal-El. We got the very first drops. Jon Kent is officially in canon. Well, there's no canon DC Comics, but at least in the mainline continuity, he is the Superman as Clark Kent gets ready to head to World. And it's no longer about true justice in the American way. It's about true justice in a better world, Joe. Certainly, they've been changing the American way. This is Jon Kent's new mission. What do you think about the first issue?
I don't have as much of a problem with the better world thing, just because it's Superman. He's an alien. They've made Superman more of an international hero. Who flies all around the world, stopping disasters anywhere. So that part I don't really mind, but. I read it. It was my biggest problems with it, beyond like retconning, continuity from just a few years ago, is the way it was written. It was constantly reminding you of who the characters are, and it's like you don't have to tell me who these people are. Like the dialogue was done in a way where it was constantly like, John, your mom's Lois Lane. Therefore, you're going to be like this. And then John being like Damian, Batman's son. And he's like, why are you writing it? Like that was very weird. Damian didn't feel like that. He looked like Tim Drake and didn't talk like Damian. The way John...
At all.
The way John was talking, too, there were moments where it was like, you've aged up, John... But there were times where he was still talking like a 10-year-old, where he was just like, Damian, you're my best and only friend, and all that stuff. And it's like, John, you're too old to talk like that. Stop that. Like that kind of stuff.
We do have one super chat we need to get to before we get back to this topic. What is happening at Disney now is not the norm. Since Bob Iger is stepping down, new leadership is in the reins, and they're running amok. This is the start of many bad things to come. I think you are correct, Kenneth Dowling, and we will see what the new leadership does. We know that the new head of Disney has a history of cutting corners and cutting costs, and it appears that maybe it's already starting to bite him in the butt.
Yeah, there was just a couple more things with it. The homage cover, I mean, it's a homage to the Golden Age Superman #1 that George Perez already did homage to when Action Comics went back to being a Superman-only title in what was it? I guess it was it was in the 90s, early 90s. So yeah, like that kind of stuff. It's and the way it ended was too like open and shut. Like there wasn't like a strong hook at the end to get you to pick up the next issue. It was like, oh, John did this thing and he wants to fight for a better world, and that's it. It almost felt like a one-shot, which it's not necessarily the worst thing. I like one-shot issues, but it's like you're relaunching this series and you want me to keep picking it up. It wasn't necessarily the best way to go, and I'm someone who likes a lot of what Tom Taylor does at DC. So it was like I didn't hate it, but I was underwhelmed.
Pele, what did you think about the voice of Damian Wayne? I don't think he thinks he can't solve anything. He was having all these questions that are unsolvable. I think Damian Wayne thinks he can figure anything out if you just asked him.
Yeah, I don't think Tom Taylor doesn't know the character. It's kind of clear he didn't know the character. He doesn't know how the character's changed within the last 3 years. So he's like, he was kind of lost. He doesn't really know John very well. He doesn't know Damian at all, apparently. So it didn't read right, and I think that's unfortunate because, I would expect a writer to really get in and learn the characters, but he just didn't, and it was hard to read. The art was fine, but I don't have a lot of hope for the series going forward. So it's just okay, all right. It's just filler and disappointing that so many creators today just don't bother to take the time to learn what the characters' personalities are before they get started. It's happens too much.
King KDI says, why would DC editors allow John and Damian, two great jump-on characters, to be soiled by hackery? Tom Taylor doesn't even know the characters he has. Is that correct, Doc?
Yes, it's Tom Taylor.
Yes.
Look, eventually everyone reverts to form. This is who Tom Taylor is. He had some decent editorial on Deceased, but left to his own devices, like he's at now, he turns into X-Men Red Tam Taylor, and he's a fucking hack.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but a guy that he doesn't know the characters. He just writes whatever the hell he wants. This is who he is when left to his own devices. You end up with this exact same situation. He got popular enough and big enough at DC that they reduce the amount of editorial control by what, at least it seems so. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like they've reduced the amount of editorial control because he was successful. The more successful you get, the less, an editor, the more power you have and the less that the editor does in controlling you. When you're a nobody, they can control you pretty well. And when he started, he was a nobody. And he did some pretty good work. From what I understand, Injustice was all right, but hey, I can plagiarize a video game too. But then Deceased, he got a lot of, critical acclaim for it. I'm betting that he had a lot of strict editorial oversight, but he's now become one of their marquee writers, and he gets less editorial oversight. And when you reduce Tom Taylor's editorial oversight, you get X-Men Red, and you get this.
All
Sorry,
right, well,
that's what happens.
Kenneth Dowling lives for Doc's Tom Taylor rants, and I'll be honest, Doc took it kind of easy there. Tristan, you are a DC fangirl.
Yes, it was not that bad, guys. It wasn't that bad. Like, I get where you see he could turn into a tyrant. I get the Damian voice thing, because Damian's cocky. Damian knows everything. He knows how to fix, even if it's something like inequality. He's going to know, and he's probably going to have a plan. He's just like his father. But as far as getting John's voice, I think he did fine. Like, that hugging it out thing, I know. It's such a Superman thing, though. We've seen the same thing in Infinite Frontier, where he took the little squiddy thing, right, back to his planet, and he was able to save everything. I think this was good. It was a good start. Now, could he turn into a tyrant? Sure, he could. But you have no actual proof that he's going to do it by removing free will. Right now, we just know what his goals are. So we don't actually know how he's going to achieve those goals. So by saying he could turn into one, yes, but he's not there yet. And I think, and as far as Tom Taylor goes, I'm going to defend Tom Taylor like I did Tom King. What? Besides X-Men Red, which I refuse to read. Injustice was Wolverine. Fantastic. Injustice was amazing for years.
Wolverine was complete shit.
Yes.
What was?
Wolverine. His Wolverine
I
run
don't
was
read very much
shit.
Marvel, so I have no idea.
But my point is, you see who Tom Taylor and what his actual writing chops are when he doesn't have a strong editor by looking at his Marvel work, because Marvel has terrible editors. Their editors are completely useless and ineffective, and so you get pure undistilled Tom Taylor. That's what you're gonna get the more you get pure undistilled Tom Taylor in DC too. That's the kind of quality of writing.
We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen any of that yet. We've seen only at DC, talking about DC alone, We've seen good Tom Taylor. We've seen Injustice. We've seen Deceased. We've seen Suicide Squad, which was, I loved it. I think he did great. Even introducing some new non-binary characters, they were done so well. Wink and Airy. So I don't see that at DC, and nor have I yet.
Why is equality even a thing in this? I don't understand. We're going to have a Superman book, and and this is going to be great. Equality. Why is equality
Superman
a subject?
Always stood up for marginalized characters?
No, sometimes he goes out to other worlds and he fights monsters, and he stops he stops this and that, and now every Superman story has to be about equality.
It doesn't have to be, but he's always stood up for marginalized voices. Well, even right now in War World, he's trying to free the slaves there.
I know, it's ridiculous. Why don't we just have... It's just so stupid. It's like everything has to be this marginalized person needs to do this and this.
It doesn't have to always be.
It's been that way for 8-10 years now, and it's really old.
I didn't read Bendis.
That's Superman's motif for a while now, and it's really old.
I didn't see that in Tomasi's run.
Run.
But it's just oh God, why does equality have to be part of this? It's just it's gotten to the point now, it's just virtue signal. Every comic's virtue signal this, virtue signal that. It's like,
my problem is show us. Don't just tell us about how you're going to fix inequality. Show us what you're doing to benefit that, and maybe then the book could be good. But if you're just going to sit there and preach, then no, it's not going to be good. But he's not preaching yet.
My whole point about him becoming a tyrant was Superman has always went out to save people. He's never went out to change the world with his own actions. He certainly hopes to change the hearts and minds of people by being like a role model in the way that he portrays himself and everything. And it sounds to me, with the words that Tom Taylor put into Jonathan Kent's mouth, that Jonathan Kent himself no longer thinks that saving people is enough, that he needs to go out there and change the way the world works.
I think. But how is he going to do that change? How is what we need to see.
We're going to read the series.
Yeah.
This is the first issue is introducing. And that's a fundamental departure of what Superman has represented in the past. That's why I said the beginning of a tyrant.
I get it.
Yeah. I think what we need to do is we need to give Jonathan Kent a copy of that issue of Joe Casey's What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. Then maybe he can understand, because that what it is you've seen, you have Jon Kent that is closing in, and he has the potential right now to turn into the Authority, and
Superman's turning into the Authority, and
Superman
and the Authority.
I know. So you have that, and the whole point of that issue of Action Comics was to have kind of a juxtaposition of, because remember, that was written around the same time that the Authority was super popular, and that they literally took over the goddamn world. And because they were tired of the way everybody else ran it, and they felt that they could do better. So I think we need to get kind of meta and hand Jon Kent a copy of an issue of Joe Casey's Superman.
We've got Tevye Smoker here. Why can't we de-age Jon Kent and reunite him with Kathy? I believe that's Kathy Braden, the next door neighbor of the kids. Well, there's no going back. I mean, Clark is going to War World. He's not going to be on Earth anymore. So even if
there is going back.
Yeah, there is.
You can go back. You can find out that this isn't even the real Jon Kent.
Yeah, but Clark Kent's still going to be on World. Like, their whole life has changed. I don't imagine Lois wants to take care of an entire farm by herself. She's probably in the city by now. I don't think he's getting back with Kathy Braden until the next crisis. But that's a good point, Tevye. We all wish they bring back the Super Sons. At least I think most of us do.
Yeah.
But no, it's look, this is who Tom Taylor is. And as he gets bigger at DC, his editorial oversight will diminish, and you will start getting shittier, more preachy bullshit work from him, because that's who he is.
I just want all the woke trash to get thrown in the wood chipper. I'm so sick of it.
We do have Wade Kramer, the Superman Red and Blue #5 story by Daniel Warren Johnson. I believe it's called Generations. I think is one of the best representations of what Superman can be. He loves Earth, and he's proud of that. I love that story. Did you get to read that one, Joe?
I did. I picked that up. Daniel Warren Johnson's story was, I think, the best one in there, but they were all pretty solid stories. It was a good...
I like Fetch as well.
Yeah, it was a good book. Well, there was also even the I liked. I think it was G. Willow Wilson did the one with the in the convenience store, where he stops it from being robbed. Like that again was a really sweet story. It's nice that this is coming out and that they're able to do this. I kind of wish we could get more of that in the main books. Right now that aren't just the anthologies, but it's still nice to see because some of these stories just do work better when they're a little short, sweet, like vignettes. So,
absolutely, that was great. I don't know, Carrie, did you have any thoughts on Superman Jon Kent by Tom Taylor?
Not really. I'm not really big on the whole Jon Kent Superman.
All right, no worries. I figure that's why you decided that was the segment to step away. We're getting back into some box office stuff. This might not exactly be comic book related, but Snake Eyes started out as a comic book and a toy, and it bombed at the box office, only drawing $13.5 million domestic, $4 million overseas, Doc. So if you thought Black Widow did bad, you got nothing.
Oh yeah,
on Paramount Snake Eyes. Thing tanked.
It's an abject look. I'm sorry. When you take every single trope of a character and throw them away, it's not that character anymore. You had an Asian talking, non in costume, not scarred, not Vietnam vet, barely even a ninja guy as a mute white dude, Vietnam vet that always wears a costume even to sleep. What the there's nothing about this that is Snake Eyes. It would have been, you know what? He would have been a solid Quick Kick. They could have made a Quick Kick movie. Hell, they could have turned him into fucking Storm Shadow and it would have been a solid movie. You could have done a Storm Shadow Origins movie and it would have been all right. But if the guy wants to not wear the mask and talk the whole time, he's not fucking Snake Eyes. And everyone that likes Snake Eyes is going to go, hey, look, they named it this thing, but that's not what it is, so I don't really care.
Yeah,
that's the problem, Craig. Carey, is that it says Snake Eyes. You're expecting maybe they get the costume right for a few minutes, but otherwise it's not the character.
No, it's not. I mean, the minute they announced what they were going to do with the character, I was just like, is this going to flop? It's not Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes does not talk. Snake Eyes is always in costume. And it's like listening to the stories of them going on about how they wanted to have him talk and have his face revealed. I was like, I'm not even interested.
Yeah, that kind of stuff always gets dicey too, because a lot of actors just they don't like wearing the masks and stuff like that. They want people to see their face. So they
everybody can do Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Damn right.
This movie,
absolutely.
Dude, this movie would have been perfect for Scott Adkins. The guy can't act worth a shit, but he's a great stuntman. All he has to do is body, act with his body, behavior wise. That's it. And do a bunch of ninja shit.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of other problems that this movie is going to run into too. I think even if you nailed the story, the marketing was kind of either non-existent at points, or this movie felt like it crept up on everybody. In the past few weeks or so, it was like, oh yeah, no, this is still coming out. And I mean, we just got to be honest here. It's Snake Eyes movie. It's been a while since there was a G.I. Joe movie. You're bringing it back with highlighting one of the characters. I think even if you nailed it, even if you got everything right, I don't see how the movie doesn't make more than maybe a few $1 million tops more. I don't think, maybe you go from making 13 million-ish to 18. Like,
I think
I
you're
don't.
severely underestimating the popularity of G.I. Joe and Snake Eyes, personally. But we do have Kenneth Dalek here with the $10 super chat. I talked to someone about this at the comic shop. I never cared who Snake Eyes was under the mask. The mystery and awe of Snake Eyes what was cool about him, and they took it away. Well, they kind of already took that away if you go read Snake Eyes Declassified, where they give you this whole backstory. But he's got a point there, Pele.
Yeah, it's a situation. There was no Snake Eyes in the Snake Eyes movie. You know, it's like everybody I've talked to that wanted to go see a Snake Eyes movie didn't go see it because they're like, there's no Snake Eyes. There was this really cool Asian guy that's, playing Snake Eyes, but we know that that's not Snake Eyes, so what are they trying to accomplish here? And, why can we see his face? Why is he talking? This doesn't make any sense. And it's like, they just didn't go because they had no interest. I think the people that went were the people that just like going to action movies, and they'll pretty much go to any, decent looking action movie. They didn't get any of the people that were the real fans of the G.I. Joe comics. So that's what really put the nail in the coffin on this one. Is they did not capture the ticket sales for the fans, and the fans really needed to get out and create a lot of buzz for this movie to work, and it just didn't happen.
I mean, Retaliation was an okay movie. The mountain climbing ninja scene still holds up to this day. It's fucking dope. Seeing, if The Rock would have been, if he would have rhymed a little bit more through it to be a little bit more like Roadblock. The problem is they get scared of the source material. I mean, these studios are completely terrified of the source material that they're adapting, yet want the cred of the audience that keeps that source material still popular to this day, and then they run away from it completely, just slap the name on it and expect it to be successful. That's not how it works.
Uberman here says, in the 80s, G.I. Joe Snake Eyes was the coolest, most sought-after figure, and he never said a bloody word on the show. Absolutely, and that's what made the character cool, because he was a man of action. He was completely defined by what he did. We've also got Neon Star Productions here with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. They decided to make a movie about Snake Eyes and essentially included none of the qualities and character aspects that made him popular to begin with. That seems counterproductive.
He's right. It is. It's completely counterproductive. When you make a movie about a thing, you can't just make it about anything and slap the label on it. That's not how this works. We're long past the point of doing a Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie where he doesn't have the skull on his chest. You can't do that anymore and expect people to just accept it. We have an Iron Man that actually runs around in fucking armor for most of the movie. The reason why a lot of people still kind of bitch about a lot of the Spider-Man movies, because he takes off his fucking mask so much. And you have a character that literally never said a word. And then this movie, he doesn't shut up.
I don't know how to say it, but they literally could have cast anybody, Tristan, because he should have never taken his mask off.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Not to play devil's advocate here, but that seemingly is my role this time. They could have done an origin story if that's what they were going for in flashbacks, like we seen with Black Widow, the beginning credit sequence. They could have done it there. And then if they're trying to do the whole, like, I have to wear the mask all the time and I'm an actor and I want to be seen type thing, why would they not go with something like we see done on Doom Patrol, where we have of the voice, Brendan Fraser's voice, but it's not actually him in the suit. It could have been done. And I love Baroness. Like, Baroness is the ultimate, like, badass girl, right? And even at that, I still haven't seen the movie. I have no interest because it just feels It felt like it dropped. The trailer dropped right after that Shang-Chi one, and it felt very copycat. Not that it was, but almost down to the music, it felt very copycat. So there was a lot of things they could have switched. Larry Hama could have switched, but to make it work. But even so, they just chose to go with an origin story, and that's fine. But he didn't put putting his mask on like the very last scene. So that's ridiculous.
Well, the thing is with this, you know, the first two movies, yes, from a financial aspect, they were generally considered unsuccessful.
They made money. But
no, they made money. I know, but they weren't successful in Hollywood budget.
Not like Transformers.
Ways. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But critically, they were kind of panned. But in
awful.
both movies, what did everybody say? Snake Eyes was the best part.
Mhm.
So what did they do? They made a Snake Eyes movie that had nothing, that had a character that was nothing like the one that everyone liked from the other two movies.
It's like they didn't learn anything from the Deadpool experience. Like from Deadpool was first in the Wolverine movie, and it's like, oh, this is a really, really awful Deadpool. You know, it's like, oh, let's make a Snake Eyes that's the same way. Oh, we did it in reverse. You know, it's just...
Can't be as bad as that Deadpool and Wolverine Origins, though, right?
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, they did the same thing, but they reversed it.
Wolverine Origins is hilarious, though.
It is.
And it got completely undone. You know, I love that.
Yeah,
I think that was a
Especially in
Deadpool
Deadpool too.
That was the best part.
Honestly, dude, I mean, seriously, they could have made this a Storm Shadow movie. If they made this a Storm Shadow movie, and it turns out that he's actually Storm Shadow in a sequel, but the fact is that this movie is such a giant failure that
I don't think they're getting
not
the
a
G.I.
chance
Joe movie they thought they were getting out of this. This is supposed to be the reintroduction of the universe.
Well, if you look at the original Marvel comic, you know, I'm not talking about original, but the one from the 80s, you know, what's the most popular issue in that entire run is issue number 21. It's the all silent issue where it's Snake Eyes versus Storm Shadow. And there's not a word bubble in that whole issue. There's not even like narration text in that whole issue. It's just all artwork of the Snake Eyes infiltrating, going in, confronting Storm Shadow. There's the fight. There's all these things that are going. It's all just beautifully told without a single word in there. The book, I can't even keep these in stock. I don't know when the last time that I've actually seen one that came into the shop that wasn't already graded. You know, it's like they sell for like close to $1,000 a piece for like a Near Mint Plus 9.6, and it's like it's such a popular book, and you know, it's just infuriating that they had no idea what they were doing with this. It's just.
We got Kenneth Dowling. Wes, in Comic Writing 101, you mentioned this. Only Asian actors do martial arts is not only stereotypical, it goes against what Bruce Lee believed. He taught martial arts to anyone who wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Isn't that one of the weird things, Joe, that we kind of get is we get all these racial stereotypes.
Yeah. Which is also weird because, you know, fun fact about me, I did get to my second dan in black belt in Japanese Shotokan, and when I was in Japan in 2004, and I got to work out in their main office, you know, their main like studio there, and so I certainly have opinions on that.
Did you take him down?
Yeah, you know, no, it was good stuff. I had fun. I did well.
Danielson style. You got to take out the whole city.
Yeah. Tokyo's a very large city. I don't know.
Did you get the waves of enemy that came in, and you had to like fight them off and pull the nunchucks off the wall? And
but yeah, my dad's really into that. I used to watch, you know, like Bruce Lee films and stuff like that with him when I was a kid and all that. I mean, it's very weird when people you know, focus in on that kind of
start pigeonholing characters and stuff.
Yeah.
What attributes they can have. All right, well, I think we probably covered Snake Eyes enough. We've got a couple other issues to talk about. We did have 2 really good Marvel comics come out this week, Pele. We got Amazing Fantasy #1 from Carrie Andrews. We also got Amazing Spider-Man 71, the continuation of Sinister War. Never mind. We got another super chat. Then we'll get back to that one. Neostar Productions, thank you so much. It probably would have been cheaper and more satisfying to watch a clip compilation of Snake Eyes from the last 2 live-action G.I. Joe films than watch the Snake Eyes movie. That's almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
That was like the best part of the movies. If you just put that together for like 45 minutes.
All they needed to do is just play like the mountain climbing ninja scene on repeat for like 2 hours, and people would have been like, "Yeah, this is fucking cool."
Absolutely. Yes, that stuff was great.
I'd pay it.
Absolutely. And thank you very much to Neostar Productions. And we'll get back into this Amazing Fantasy #1, Carrie Andrews, Amazing Spider-Man 71, continuation of Sinister War. Pele, which one did you think was a standout? Did you love them both equally?
71 stood out. I'm all in on this. I know that I have a fear that the rug's going to be pulled out at some point, but if it happens, it happens. I'm in on this until the wheels come off, until he's done with this, till he's done with his story. So, it's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic up to now. So we'll wait and see. I'm like Doc though. I just I'm waiting for Lucy to pull the football away, but if it happens, it happens. So
what did the consumers at the at Parts Unknown think? Did they both sell out? Were they more?
Oh yeah, it's been insane. Anything was Spider-Man went through that horrible lull before the
20s.
Oh my God, that was just brutal. That was absolutely brutal in when run issue 21, 22. It was like, oh Jesus, this is. I've never seen Spider-Man sell that low in numbers before, and just to see within 20 to 30 issues, it double and triple back past where it was before was very, very satisfying. But yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been one of the best series that Marvel's had in quite a while, actually. So ongoing series, and I've really enjoyed it. Amazing Fantasy #1 sold great. It sold great. It sold well. I hadn't got a chance to read through the whole thing. I kind of flipped, but I was told that it was quite satisfactory.
Absolutely. So Joe, you're about to head out.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you very much. I knew that you were going to have to bump out a little bit early.
Yeah, no, but this was great. You all have a great time, and I read both those issues too. I really enjoyed them. I might have enjoyed Amazing Fantasy #1 just slightly more, only because this was something pretty new, and I really like what Carrie Andrews was doing. But this Amazing Spider-Man storyline better pay off is what I
better.
I
agree. Get into that.
But yeah, it was great. It was great seeing new people on the panel too. So
take care, Joe.
Yeah, thanks. Have
Bye,
a great
Joe.
one.
Bye-bye.
Be good.
Later, Joe.
So we've got Robert Willing with a theory, and if you are not following Robert's YouTube channel, you're crazy. He's also got a lot of content, got a lot of really good movie and comic book reviews over there. His theory: they are not going to restore the marriage itself, but they are going to restore their memories of the marriage and fix Peter's soul. That is an interesting theory. I have one. They are not going to restore the marriage itself. I believe that's correct. They are going to elope, which is going to break the agreement that they had with Mephisto, and that is it's going to cost Peter Parker his life.
I think it's going to end up costing Aunt May her life.
Well, she should probably go too,
because she's the one that she's the bargaining chip. She was the bargaining chip. I think that what will happen is, this is what I think. I think that Peter's going to offer his life because Mephisto's going to say, "You broke the contract," and then Peter's going to say, "Well, take my life. It was my decision. I will pay for it. I deserve it." And Mephisto goes, "No, you're not who I want." And then Aunt May dies. Yeah, and then Peter's got to go and save her soul somehow or something like that.
No, it's going to be MJ, because MJ's the one that actually made the agreement
to save Aunt May's soul.
Yes,
to save Aunt May's life.
And Peter was gonna. So MJ's the one that's gonna die.
No,
Well,
I
we've
think
seen the pictures. It's Peter that's dying. You think it's they're giving us the loop-de-loop?
I'm thinking there might be a chance that they pull that swerve.
One of them's dying. That's why.
Well, one of the three is definitely going to die over this.
As soon as they get remarried, that's it.
If not two.
Well,
maybe she offers.
Go ahead.
Maybe MJ's the one.
Yeah, maybe MJ offers.
Apparently, she already offered it up, though. That's what Doc's theory is. We know that she leaned in and said something to Mephisto, right, Doc?
Yeah, she made the agreement. She's the one that actually agreed to the deal, not Peter. Peter just said, "Fine, whatever you agree to." He just went along.
Visual has the worst. He says MJ's going to trade her unborn son. What?
Oh lordy!
Oh my god,
that's rough, man. That's some Tom King shit right there.
That's a dark turn.
Well, it would make sense with the childless weirdos in Marvel to not understand that a woman would not trade her unborn son.
Jesus,
but true. That's true.
Do you know those people?
No, I'm saying
they're horrible people. Read what they say.
You don't know that. You've never met them. They might just write horrible.
Quit defending the woke idiots.
No,
my statements on people.
I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me that people that are not parents would not understand the bond between a mother and their child, even if it's unborn.
I don't know. We do have Tim Limpton, the Bunderdome. What's up, Tim? It's good to see you in here. You just came for the most exciting part. We're talking about all these theories, and now it's time to get really depressed. What do you think, Tristan? What do you think is going to happen? Is Robert Willing correct, or am I correct? Where's Doc correct?
I'm going to lean more on Robert, but I don't know. I haven't been following Spider-Man. I just jumped on at Sinister War, just because I was watching Comics Elite, and they were talking about how good it was. So I picked up Sinister War #1. So I just jumped on. I read the Mary Jane mini because I thought it was actually pretty decent. But Amazing Fantasy #1, I know we're still kind of talking about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I absolutely loved it. And I am not a Marvel fangirl at all. I can't get into the characters like I can DC. But that was fantastic. But then again, it is, I'm not Cart Andrews, right? And he did Erratic. I love his writing. So I think that's going to be good. But as far as Spider-Man, I don't know. I'm just going to be honest with you.
I do know that One More Day, believe it or not, sells like gangbusters right now. There's definitely been some energy behind that book. And as much as it's been hated and reviled, I don't understand it. But yeah, any copy I can get on, it sells. So
people want to go back and revisit it before it's undone by Nick Spencer.
I guess, yeah, they want it as part of part one of a 2-part thing, I guess. So,
so
go ahead.
What's up, Doc?
No, I was gonna say that I think if MJ dies, Peter is going to be out of commission because his soul will be busy running around through the afterlife trying to save hers. And that's where Peter's going to end up. That's why he's not Spider-Man, why Ben Reilly takes over the role.
You First says, if Marvel want to back out of the marriage, they have 2 outs. If Moira dies. Oh,
yep.
From X-Men, she can reset the universe. And maybe if the deal is broken, there's a DC-style reboot, i.e. a Crisis. Man, could they just destroy the entire fabric of the Marvel multiverse by undoing the deal by Mephisto, Doc?
Theoretically, yes. But there's a lot of ways that Marvel could... There's a lot of shit that happens in Marvel Comics and DC Comics that could theoretically undo the entire universe and reboot it all the time. They just don't pull the trigger on that. Every time there's some world-shattering event, theoretically, it could, entirely wipe out the universe and reset it. They could do it anytime. They just don't choose to pull the trigger on that.
Way to put your stones on the line there, Doc.
I'm just saying they can.
I'm just teasing. All right, Tristan. So, did you read Amazing Fantasy #1 by
Yes.
Terry Andrews?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What do you
It
think
was-
about the 4 distinct art styles? You got Captain America's origin story gets an art style, Black Widow, Spider-Man, and then when they're on the island, they all get their own art style. I thought it was
Well,
great.
I was
Same
kind of
artist.
not into it at first. I didn't like the art style of Captain America, but once I realized what they were doing, I really liked it. I think it does a good job of separating each story, so we know like when they get on the island, that's a little different. And then the the Uncle Ben reveal, I was like, this feels like an actual like good setup to a new good storyline, and I haven't felt that way for Marvel at least for a really long time.
It's nice to feel that way. Carrie,
Yeah.
did you read any of these?
Yes, I did. I
Which one was
Definitely.
the one that you were into?
really like this Amazing Fantasy.
So good, isn't it?
It's so good. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do next. And I did like the Uncle Ben thing too.
Right?
Yeah,
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So-
I need to go. I need to read. I definitely need to read that tonight. So.
I
do.
need to read that too. You guys keep talking about Uncle Ben, and I'm like, does Uncle Ben become the new spokesperson for the rice?
Exactly.
Totally the new Spider-Man.
Totally.
No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
Totally. Yeah.
All right.
I've
They-
got
they
it
just-
sitting over here. I just need to
You
read it.
find out that Uncle Ben's rice is actually this Uncle Ben. Dun dun dun.
My favorite part is that the cover didn't lie to you. We do get to see Captain America riding a griffin. Yes.
I'm good with that.
I like it when you do fun stuff like this. It doesn't feel like there's enough fun in comics, Carrie. So when you finally get something like Amazing Fantasy, it definitely feels like a treat.
It does.
Yeah. It's
Been
too bad we
really
don't-
I'll be honest. I think I disagree with that.
I was
that
going to
there's
say
not
the same
enough
thing.
fun, because I think there's almost too much fun in comics, and none of the people that are creating them take them remotely seriously most of the time, and it turns out with piss poor storytelling as a result.
All right, Tristan. You
No,
were
like,
going to jump in there too.
I think there's plenty of fun. I find a lot of like Wonder Girl's been super good. I think that's going to be something very similar, like over the top storytelling. I think there's plenty of fun if you find it, and you can't just stay at Marvel and DC. You can't go read Ultra Mega, go read something along those lines. There is fun out there. You just have to search it out a little bit harder.
Yeah, go read Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah, go read Department of Truth. Wait, was that a joke?
Kill the Children, the feel good story of the year.
That's
Oh,
right.
no, I don't mean
Children
it.
dying. It's beautiful.
That's why I wanted to. That's what I wanted to see her reaction.
I like
But
it. It's good though.
it is fun in a dark way, though. It's just okay.
Go
brace
read
yourself.
some book about fucking Tom Taylor killing a dog, or Tom King, or whichever Tom it was that killed fucking Superdog.
Oh, word is that there will be that they've already inking the deal or in the process of inking the deal to go ahead and the Something is Killing the Children series. So that's that's going to be something. It's going to be
Department of Truth one also.
yeah. Showtime is looks like Showtime is picking the Something is Killing the Children series. So you can know that's going to be a hard R. So there's going to be body parts and.
All right, let's get
But
to
that's
this last
fun in a
topic.
very dark way.
Yeah, Buffy
Let's-
just
We gotta get to the last topic. I'm sorry, guys. We're almost at the end of the time. We've got changes for Doctor Who. I know a lot of people were upset with the last iteration of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I think Doc had already he'd actually given up on Doctor Who before this, but Jodie Whittaker and the showrunner Chibnall are leaving Doctor Who after this season. I don't know, Carrie. Is this a good change? Is this something that needed to happen? Do you even care?
I'm glad they're gone, but that doesn't mean I'm hopeful for the future, because I tried watching her performance with this and I was bored most of it. I got through maybe like half the first season and gave up.
It wasn't very good.
No.
Nah.
It wasn't good, and I don't think it's going to get better from here unless they really get somebody who cares about the legacy of Doctor Who. But you're going to have to redo everything they've done with this series.
They're going to have to retcon it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're gonna have to retcon out. In my opinion, everything from the beginning of the Capaldi run.
Yeah.
Through current, almost none of it is usable if you want to get back to any semblance of who Doctor Who was in the past. The thing that made everybody interested, because it's nothing like it anymore. It's just everything feels wrong. I did, though, however, see that J. Michael Straczynski's like kind of
Offered
angling
his services?
Yes, he did, and I'm like, I'll take this. If they let a non-Brit run it, I would go with JMS of anybody. But no, it's been bad for a while. Capaldi's run was terrible, and it really started screwing everything up. I think Jodie Whittaker was a fine Doctor, but Chris Chibnall's show running on that show was fucking terrible. She had nothing to work with at all. It was bad.
I don't know. What do you think, Pele? Is it time for a restart on Doctor Who?
Oh, it's been that way for several years now. I mean, they could just go back, just the last two Doctors. Just no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. The whole, oh my God, what they did, how the Time Lords got their powers, and the whole race, that they basically just kept killing this child over and over and over and over again until they figured out how it worked, and it's just like, it's torture. It's like they introduced that the Time Lords got their power by torturing a child to death constantly, and it was like,
Oh.
so
like Tom
dark.
King was the showrunner.
It was so dark. It just got, it is like, oh, and they did it because, oh no, it was, I don't want to,
You know what? Somebody in the comments made a good point, and I'm terrified of it. Be prepared for LK says be prepared for Kate Herron to be named the Doctor Who showrunner. She's British, and she has that Loki series credit now.
oh my God.
And that was it was already dealing with time travel. I think we're fucked.
You could just watch, it's like Gary from Nerdrotic was talking about. He gave up. He's completely given up on the series. And this is like one of the strongest Doctor Who fans in the United States.
I finally totally dropped it during halfway through last season. I struggled through the Capaldi years and the first year and change of Jodie Whittaker, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. This is bad. This is terrible.
Yeah, my wife's a massive Whovian. She loves Who, and she's literally crying after the Jodie Whittaker episodes, and she's like, they're destroying it all. They're tearing the show apart. Oh. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's really, really bad, and she gave up. And I just don't think there's enough people that care anymore.
Do you think maybe they should put it to the side for a while and then go back to it?
Yeah, I think that they need to, at least a decade, maybe.
Same way they did in the late 80s through the late 90s or the early 2000s.
Yeah. And then just go back to like the, right after one of the great runs that they had, maybe the 7th Doctor, 8th Doctor, and, and say, and just reboot it from there. And just, do a whole season undoing all that other crap and just relaunch. And, I think that's the only way.
I just watched that movie. It was called Rise of Skywalker, where it was basically undoing the previous movie while trying to move forward. It didn't work.
But, I just don't know if it actually can be fixed at this point, and that's the sad part of it, because it's such an amazing. I mean, go back and watch the original Doctor, the old black and white Who's, and how awesome that is. Even with the quirky, special effects and the weird
budget, the low budget garbage cans and shit.
So, yeah, but that was part of the charm of it. We used to watch it on PBS, when I was a kid, and it it was even cheesy for a 4 or 5-year-old. I'd be like, oh, that's kind of jinky, but yeah, I really like the sci-fi part of it and everything. And you know, it was one of the few shows that Dad and I could sit there and just watch and enjoy. And yeah, just where it's gone now, it's just, I just don't think it can be recovered. I just don't.
All right. Does anyone else have anything to say about the future of Doctor Who before we wrap this up? Start talking about some comic book recommendations.
I have a question. I don't care about Doctor Who, like literally at all. But what is wrong with Kate Herron when she did Loki?
That show was fucking terrible.
Oh God, it was so bad. God, it
Oh
was
my
so
God.
bad.
No.
It was
sorry.
so good.
I really don't need to watch Loki, God of Middle Management anymore.
Yeah.
I would have preferred an entire 6-episode series on him just being DB Cooper over everything we got in that.
Oh
it
my
was-
God,
What was
what?
so painful about it was just exposition, sitting and talking about their feelings, and it was just
I'm a
like,
girl.
and it was, yes, but I'm telling you why a man it would think it sucks.
I'm a girl,
Because
and I thought it was. Boring.
It was awful. It was just so painful, and he was just such a
And then
pussy.
him-
It just
yeah.
he was letting it walk all over him.
I'm
and
a
he was just,
heel.
He
And he
got
was just-
beat up by a Walmart shopper.
yeah, it's just like
What?
you.
A random Kmart shopper beat up a Norse god.
There was nothing godlike about him in the series. Period.
No,
the
there
only
wasn't.
one that had any chops as Loki was the original Loki, the guy that played the original Loki with the long
616.
horns. And I was like, oh my God, I want him back. I want a show about him. He is awesome. And then it's like all the rest of them, or maybe the alligator. That wouldn't be too bad.
I don't know.
But
Pele, Ash says that it was too smart for you, so you couldn't understand it.
I don't care what he thinks.
Maybe I'm,
You know,
maybe I'm
it's
a
just,
giant.
I couldn't care less. It was just really, really awful.
No, I
maybe
really
I'm a
enjoyed it.
giant dummy. Maybe I am a giant.
I think
dummy.
Ash
It's
is
fine.
being facetious on that. But
No,
it
no,
was,
he
it was
loved
really,
Loki.
oh,
Yeah.
it's so
He did-
awful.
He legitimately loved it.
It's so terrible.
I thought it was terrible, but I mean, none of it made sense. And then we finished with not Kang, so that's great.
Yeah.
And then him
Just
following around Sylvie all the time, going, "You're amazing."
sniffing after,
it-
oh, you're such an awesome person. I love you.
It would have been so much better if she was just the Enchantress.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Texas Sci-Fi says Doctor Who used to inspire engineers and scientists instead of social justice warriors. It needs to do this again. Make Doctor Who good again. That's
Yeah, I just don't think it can happen. Yeah, they've done too much damage to the brand now.
Major
And
retcon.
Ash says I twisted his words. Well, maybe I embellished what you're trying to get across there for Loki. And Tristan with the full heel turn, supporting Loki on the channel. I like it. I like the brazen attitude.
I love it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was like a nice little story about getting the other Lokis. I thought it did a good job of kind of bringing. But I'm in the minority. I liked Vote Loki. I liked some of those stories, so I thought it was really good. And Tom Hiddleston was on it, so
Yeah, that's
Tristan,
the only salvation in that was the Tom Hiddleston and the little interactions every once in a while you'd get between Loki and Wilson every
Mobius.
once in a while.
Mobius.
You know, it was like every once in a while, you know, it was like, oh, that's not bad, and it's, oh God, the suck is back. Okay.
Brody
Oh my
Mold
God.
says Ash likes The Last Jedi. Oh, that is
Oh my
an
God.
incriminating statement.
Really?
I don't even know him anymore.
All right, Tristan. It was like when Stone Cold Steve Austin won the title when Mr. McMahon knocked somebody out with a chair. His full heel turn. That's what happened.
Mark M is right. Mark M. He said, "I don't get the need for these movies to constantly redeem villains." Exactly. Let Loki just be a villain. You know, it's like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Just let him be a villain.
Loki
that
hasn't been a villain in a very long time.
But they also
This
nerfed
is the
him.
same Loki that was actively a villain at the time when he time traveled and went and this whole thing started.
Yeah.
Though,
Yes.
he was a bad guy. He just murdered like dozens of people all over the world,
Yeah.
and then suddenly he's like had a soft spot for this.
And
He
led
watched
a
the video.
Yeah, this is the exact same Loki that literally like 15 minutes prior had led an assault that killed thousands in New York City.
Exactly.
Stab Coulson through the back.
Yeah, and yeah, this is not end of Ragnarok, or at the end of Ragnarok Loki.
Yeah, he's
but
a
he
murderer.
still was destined to become that person. So he could still have
He's
done
not
this throughout
That's
this
the
time.
problem
He
with the
did-
show
but
is because
he didn't have the years
he
of.
doesn't follow the timeline. They just reset him constantly.
Mhm.
Yeah, he never had that development. They
Right.
skipped all that, and then they just
All
want
right,
you to
fellas.
act like it's still the same developed Loki. It's not.
Yep.
They
Ladies
showed him a
and gentlemen,
video.
We do need to end the show and get some comic book recommendations. What were you saying, Carrie?
I'm sorry. I said they showed him a video and that was it.
Yes,
That's all it took.
Yeah.
it redeemed it.
Oh, well,
Carrie-
that. Oh.
Do you have any comic books that you would like to recommend to the viewing audience this week?
Well, right now I am going through some back issues of stuff, and I am going through Rise of Midnight Suns, Ghost Rider.
Oh, it's so good.
Back
Yeah,
issues. That's
it's
where
really
it's
good.
at.
exactly.
All right, Pele, what are they buying down at Parts Unknown?
Oh, Amazing Fantasy 1 and the latest. I mean, all the back issues of the Spider-Man from the mid 30s upward. I sell them as soon as I get them in. It's amazingly hot right now. I'm gonna recommend. I'll recommend the new ASM, and there was the Dune: Blood of Sardaukar. That was pretty good.
Nice.
I like where that's going.
Definitely make sure you visit Tristan's channel, Nerdette's Newsstand, next week. She's going to have an interview with Dan Jurgens. There's going to be plenty of fantastic comic book content over there. Tristan, what do you recommend the viewers read this week as far as comic books?
Oh, definitely, probably. I Am Not Starfire, Other History. Just kidding, that was a joke.
Thank God.
Wow!
I'm not
Okay.
Starfire.
I don't know- I don't know what
to
to expect anymore now.
You like Tom Taylor and Tom King. I'm not entirely certain I trust your recommendation.
No, for real. One thing I've been recommending is a small book called Monolith. It's, I think, up to issue 3 right now. It's fantastic. It's about the monolith is the car, but it's a story. Okay, probably not maybe interested, maybe necessarily you guys, because you went the fantasy side of things, but it's a woman that was controlled, and she ends up leaving, and she goes through these crazy adventures with her son. Okay, so I'm gonna recommend something that would probably be more up to this audience. Probably Department of Truth came out this week. That was super good. Shadow Man by Cullen Bunn's been fantastic. There's Possessive, and then also Sweet Paprika.
Oh, you need to since you're whamming power, you need to read the Daredevil with Elektra. You really need to
with
be
Chip
reading that.
Zdarsky?
Oh my God! You really, if you're really into the whamming power, and I love
I'm not,
Elektra
though.
anyway.
I'm just telling you what I'm into both.
You like strong women in comics,
Yes.
so I'm saying the Elektra as Daredevil is badass. You need to be reading that.
I
That's
love
very
Chip
good.
Zdarsky at the stuff he's doing at DC right now, so I definitely have to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, Doc. What do you recommend?
I'm recommending Wolverine whatever the shit number it is that came out this week. I think 14.
14 or 15. It's one of those.
Yeah. I'm recommending ASM 71 because, look, even if, we finish off and Nick Spencer pulls a Nick Spencer and pulls the rug out from under us like, Lucy with a football, well, he's not going to be in comics anymore for us to yell at. So
Yeah.
whatever. But I have a back issue recommendation because if you liked, or if you didn't like Tom Taylor's Superman John L, whatever the shit his name is, there was a better homage cover done a number of years ago for the 4-issue Majestic story that was set in the DC universe with Mr. Majestic from the Wildstorm universe and Superman and the Eradicator. It was just called Majestic. It was 4 issues. It was done by Andy Lanning and Dan Abnett on art and Carl Kerschel on art. It's really, really good. Go check it out. You can probably find it in dollar bins. It's not, terribly expensive, but it's a good, fun story, and definitely better Superman than Tom Taylor would ever write in his entire life. And it's not, if you want a Superman that's not actually Superman, that's done better than the Superman that they're giving you that's not Superman, go read Majestic, because he's a better Superman.
All righty, that wasn't complicated enough. I've got a few recommendations. I'm shocked no one brought this up, but we got the final issue of Daniel Warren Johnson's Beta Ray Bill this week, number 5.
I'll
absolutely recommend that. What else we got? We got Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp's Batman Reptilia number 2, and Robin number 4. But I think Robin might be the best comic book they have at DC right now.
Yeah. I can't stress how good that Beta Ray Bill series is. Oh my God. It's the best mini that Marvel's had in probably 5 years.
Absolutely. And also Symbiote Spider-Man began a new series. So thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to the panel. Thank you to Carrie. Thank you to Tristan for joining us for the first time. Hopefully you will come back and we can talk more nerd stuff. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be doing more stuff on the channel. Thank you all very much.
Take care, guys.
Wash your ass.
Yep.